and gentlemen, please remain seated for the presentation of the gold medal by members of the United States Congress and Mr. William McDowell, representative of the Montford Point Marines, United States Marine Corps.
On November 23, 2011, former President Barack Obama signed the law that awarded all Montford Point Marines with the US Congressional Gold Medal. The Montford Point Marines are the first regiment of African Americans to integrate the segregated US Marine Corps from 1941 to 1949. This law enshrines the legacy of bravery demonstrated by these Marines during a time of crisis and worldwide conflict on a global scale. Retired Sgt Primus Kinlaw, now aged 96, is an original Montford Point Marines. In a rare testimony, he tells his story to the editors of the Military Guardian as he talks about the Battle of Bougainville and his experience in the Solomon Islands under the command of US General Douglas MacArthur.
1943. So I know this place has a lot of memories for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, it does.
Well, he was in the Navy, my brother, and he was trying to entice me to go in the Navy. But see, during back that time, there wasn't too many Marines, too many of us in the Marine Corps. So I chose to go to the Marine Corps.
And in that time, unless I'm mistaken, you were 17 years old.
I was 17, yes.
And in that time, was it taken for granted that a 17-year-old young man would be drafted to join the war, or would it be deemed as too young an age?
Well, it wasn't common because I tried to get in the Marine Corps before I went down to the local board to be drafted. And this time I went down there to be drafted, and they actually took me in. So
did you know anything about firing weapons before you joined the Corps?
Oh, no, I didn't know nothing about firing no weapon there. No, I didn't.
In the article, you mentioned about the harshness of your drill sergeant. How long did your training last?
The training really, I think it lasted about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
To be a sergeant?
No, just for training, boot camp, right? Yeah, from 6 to 8 weeks.
Would you say that this boot camp, this training, made you ready for action, or do you, or with hindsight, do you feel that
yes,
you
they
could have
did.
some more?
Really, training did prepare us for action. That's true. Yes.
Would you feel that you could have used some more, or was 6 weeks enough?
Well, I think we could have used some more time, but back then the war was going on and things were going very fast. So, you know, we didn't have time to spare.
Did you get the chance to make friends during this training?
Just about everybody was my friend and in training with me. We all was together, believe me.
Well, as far as European audiences know, there was segregation in the US Armed Forces during World War II.
There were segregation because in boot camp training, there was all black people. There was no nobody mixing. It was all black people, and that was segregation. Yes.
And once you were in the Corps, how did you find out that you wouldn't be sent off overseas to fight the Japanese? How did you find out about that?
Well, when we got out of boot camp, they did tell us that it'd be about 3 or 4 weeks and you'll be going out. And it was about 3 or 4 weeks. I was aboard ship going to Japan. Yes.
So do you remember the date you left for the US for the Pacific?
Oh no,
When you
I
lived,
don't know the exact date. I really don't know the exact date. But there was more than just me. See, there was the whole outfit was going.
How was your regiment shipped off? What kind of boat were you on?
We were shipped out by ship. We went merchant ship going out.
were the ships escorted by destroyers?
No, I don't think there was destroyers.
But she said,
I think there were, as we went along, I believe there were airplanes coming, then they go back and come. But I don't think they were shipped out by destroyers.
she asked, was your ship escorted?
But by
Yeah.
destroyers.
Yeah.
I can't answer that because I don't know, but I do know one thing. There were submarines with us underwater.
Okay, underwater. It's quite
Right.
interesting
Right.
because we were wondering if there were during your journey, there were any attacks like submarine attacks or air attacks when you were going to the Solomons.
No, we was not attacked when we were going in. We did not.
Did your unit make a stop in Pearl Harbor?
Yes, we did make a stop in Pearl Harbor, and I think we stayed overnight and just went the next day.
And did you see your brother there?
No,
No,
no, I did not see him there in Pearl Harbor.
you were not allowed to see him, or it was not possible?
It was not possible because he was on some aircraft carrier someplace out in the ocean. So we just stopped there, and
Were the Solomon Islands your first destination?
I believe it was the Solomon Islands.
Place you stopped at.
I think that was our first stop to Solomon Island. I'm not sure. And then the next one was on, then we got aboard the aircraft on Bougainville, I believe.
When did you find out you were going to the Solomon Islands?
When did I find out? When we
Yes.
started to get off of the ship.
What did officers tell you and your comrades about those islands?
Well, they tell us that the people on the island, they were nice people and treat them with respect and stuff like that. That's all we could do.
And what was your feeling when you arrived, when you meet people there?
Oh, we feel okay. We stayed aboard ship. See what we do. We stayed aboard ship, and when we get ready to go on Liberty, we sign out on Liberty. That's all we did.
How long
Did we stay?
the journey to go to this island last, and what was the atmosphere on the ship?
We probably stayed there overnight and get back aboard ship the next morning.
And what was the atmosphere on
And the
the ship?
atmosphere was,
What was the atmosphere on the ship? What was it like on the ship?
yeah, it was nice. It was all right. I enjoyed it.
What she told- Tell her about it.
It was all right on the ship. What they do, it was all right.
Was it tight quarters?
It was tight quarters, but what they did, they had all of us. Well, I don't want to.
Well, just tell her about it.
We all, they put us all in one compartment. Understand what I'm talking about? They put us all in one compartment. They didn't have us mixed. Then until later on.
Okay, it was still segregated. And as a young man, because I mean, only 70-year-old boys going to war, it's quite hard for us to believe that it was quite a journey too, to go from the other side of the earth to
Right.
fight without any news from their family. How was the atmosphere in that angle? How was your comrades? How were your
Well,
comrades?
Well, I don't know, we was aboard ship, so we was Marines on Navy ship. We had to do what they tell us to do. They tell us that we stay in this compartment and people in that compartment, it was segregated back then.
Can you tell us how, apart from being separated, is there any other way you felt segregated by the army?
When we first went aboard the ship, they were segregated. But after we got aboard ship, then we all went to one compartment. Yeah.
So as an African American, did they treat you any differently?
No. We was all treated the same aboard ship when we went to their compartment and everything. We all had sleeping bags and whatever and stayed aboard ship. There wasn't no certain prejudice on the ship, like you was in this compartment, we all was in the same compartment.
What did the officers tell you and your comrades? How do they briefed you before? How did they briefed you about the mission and the Solomons?
We're gonna hit the beach, and when we hit the beach, it's gonna be rough. So you might as well prepare yourself for it now, and this and that and the other. I can't remember all of it, but that's about the way it went.
Were you serving in the infantry, or did you have any artillery support or tank support?
We had artillery support. You know, you had ships out in the ocean. All they had to do was notify them what was going on. And this thing is, you hit the beach, and we all was together hitting the beach.
And do you remember the very day when you hit the beach? How did things go that day?
Well, there was a lot of things happening. I couldn't pinpoint one thing that was wrong. You hit the beach, everybody's together, believe me.
Tell them what something that happened, what you went through, or what you were thinking.
Well, you know, when you hit the beach, the only thing you're thinking of who's over here and who's over there and where we going. So you had to go by your leader, which was the first sergeant or the leader who's leading you. You follow him. He knows about where he's going. But just to get on the beach and you do it on your own, you can't do that.
Did you see action at once as soon as you got on the beach, or did the fighting start later?
There was a lot of action when we got off of the ship and hit the beach. But after we got out going, there was no action out there. They took us into places where we could go and, you know, relax for a little bit.
When was the first time when you saw fighting?
Let's see. That night after we was on the ship, we was attacked that night.
Did you have friends who got killed or wounded?
Yes, I did have.
Japanese soldiers in World War II are well known for their fierce fighting style. How would you describe them?
I can tell you that I'm quite sure that was excellent on their part, because they figure mostly what we was going to do before we did it. Yes.
So they were pretty fierce.
Yeah, they were pretty chill, believe me.
It is also well known that the Marine Corps is called for the toughest situation. And I was thinking about the Tarawa Atoll, where there was fighting exactly at the same time in November 1943. Was that the way you felt it when you were fighting on that island?
You know.
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah, it was hard. Sure was. Fear, yeah, we fear. I was. Who wouldn't be?
But they fought vigorously and fiercely.
Well, yeah, there's had the time, you know, you didn't fight all the time because they attack you and they go somewhere and rest or whatever they're doing, and then they come back and attack again. You don't know when they're going to attack. You know, you just got to be prepared and be ready. If you're not, you're in trouble.
Was the jungle an equally demanding foe, equally demanding as the Japanese?
No,
Well, I'll put it this way. They knew exactly where they were going, and we had to figure out a way to go. So in order for us to be strong and stuff, we had to figure a way to get to them. But they had already figured that out before we even got there. We just got off the ship and hit the beach, and they knew the place to go, and we didn't. So we had to find out what to do and what not to do.
And yet, in the end, the US troops on that island, they prevailed over the Japanese.
Yes, they did. Yes, we did.
Was there an airfield on that island like there was on Guadalcanal?
Yes, there was an airfield on the island. We was on the island of Bougainville. There was an airfield there, right on the right of us.
Fighting on those islands was about protecting those airfields, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. You had to protect the airfield so you could have your stuff coming into you. Yeah.
Were enough reinforcements coming in during the fighting?
Did we get enough? We never got enough for nothing. And no, not enough supply. We never, we could always use supply.
Were yourself wounded during that time?
One time,
What happened?
sniper fire.
How long did you stay on this island?
I think we stayed there for about, I don't know, I think about 2 weeks. It wasn't that long, I don't believe, about 3 to 4 weeks, went aboard ship.
Where else did you get to fight on in other places?
You know what? We floated around out in the ocean and went to different places and right back to the island.
Oh, did you get to see fighting on other places before
Well,
the
yeah,
war?
but no, not fighting in other places. What we did, went on the ship and float around out in the ocean and relax for a while and then come back. That was after the invasion of Bougainville and the invasion of the island in the Pacific. I'm gonna put it on the other side.
Do you remember how you found out the war was over?
How did I find out the war was over? Oh, let's see how that come to me. I don't remember how that happened, but I do remember somebody coming telling us about the war was over, didn't have to fight no more.
How much chance did you have to talk about your war experience before the Leatherneck magazine interview?
Who did I talk to before? Nobody.
Yeah, nobody. You never talk about your experience before
I
this
never talked to
interview.
nobody about it.
What a shame. It's interesting. We know that you had to live for the Korean War. When was it?
The Korean War started in 1950, I think.
And you have to live at the beginning?
And I went in, as a matter of fact, I went in Korea in 1950.
How did you feel about that?
The Korean War and World War II was completely different. And
how was it different for you?
well, the difference to me was that I helped hit the beach in World War II. In Korean War, when I went there, and well, I hit the beach there too, but I wasn't with combat and all that. When I went to Korea, place was set up for us.
And Mr. Primus Kinlaw. Mr. Kinlaw is unable to be here this afternoon. Accepting on his behalf is his son, Jeff Kinlaw.
What would you want to say for today's generation when they ask about your experience in the war?
Just to do what you're told and pay attention to people with experience, because it
Okay.
means a lot. Without experience, you could be in serious trouble. So pay attention to those people that was ahead of you, that knows what's going on.
Is it what you did during your experience, paying attention to your comrades who had more experience than you?
Yeah, that's what I did. Just sure did. I paid attention to field sergeant major and the first sergeant, all of them. What they told me, I did. Yes.
Okay.
And I'm here sitting down talking to you about it because of that. I believe.
And if young
Yeah.
people today ask you what war is like, what would you want to answer them?
It's tough.
Were the time when you got in trouble because you didn't pay attention or you
No,
didn't listen to?
No. When, I'm gonna tell you something. Regardless of how bad you think you are, when you get into combat, you do what top tell you or your senior tell you. Without that, you're not gonna make it.
And you made it, and thanks for that. You're with us today.
And that's it. Okay.